every time we come through. Commanding General YAHANNA and his heavy hitting crew. Real niggas with an attitude. How about you? I repeat, real niggas with an attitude. How about you? The Chronicles of the King, 69 to the present, hardcore Nazarene. We ain't never been a peasant, like the ghetto was a present, holding everything pleasant in the Most High's present. His silver and gold is precious. They thought it was effervescent. Get in class, learn your lesson. Out the belly of the beast will increase, at least observe the beast of Yahweh. Eat some lamb, make connections. He's a little sanctuary, no question. We ain't ever been crabs in the barrel. This is life under Pharaoh, from a lifestyle apparel to walk in the straight narrow, more right than your average bed for the price of a sparrow. Using practical knowledge, not just the narrow. This is ice in the mirror. They cutting us like the grass, keep plugging us out the past, yet punish us out the ass. I tell my people that love them about the criminal justice, about the past. Then we stuff in the ego. These vultures are evil. Just look at what they done to our people. Covered up the face of the judges with paint on for easel. I be meditating terrorists and deliver my keynote. U.P.K, we got diesel. No cowards forever. We go while you use us. We bringing back the Lord's nation with much long suffering. The campers in concentration. In spite of the correlations, they faggots in formation. They be taking and evil. We got the stage and invasion. We got the streets in a rage. Once the priest hit the pavement, vengeance from the Lord. It's the white man pavement. The prophets of Yahweh ain't nothing to fucking play with. Some of you gone lukewarm, my niggas stay lit. Y'all complacent, we stay spitting yoga fire in your faces. Freeing the flock of the slaughter from out of this matrix. The definition of racist is believing you're on top, and as a matter of fact, we got that position on lock. It shouldn't come as a shock. SHALAM won't stop when we come back to our power. Who wanna bump with the bumper glide? We keep the summer hot, winter on icicle. You get that spiritual power, ain't gotta buy a pistol. Ripping bodies caught by the crystal. No harm, you're struck by a missile. You serve Yahweh, you're invincible. Gotta be one of the 12 tribes of Israel, a nation under God, indivisible. Our power is critical, from analog to digital. We coming back. U.P.K ain't running, but we running that pay your tithes with that money, yeah. Put on the dummy hat, thinking it's cool. We're not hosting an intergalactic character. We're torn, he raised up one of his people for rulership. U.P.K gon' be ruling shit. Yahweh is ruling with an iron rod. The only dialogue is kind. I don't want kind, you don't like it. You could die a fugitive and vagabond. Me, I'ma have cattle and a catalog of slaves. Tell the nations get in shape. Otherwise we do nuking them. They gonna build Jerusalem. Christians would call it safe. You can call it what you want, but them roads better be gold paid straight out of these OKs. 1,000 years for sin, picking cotton, no shit, finger pricking, blood dripping from all the thorns. I'll be keeping the bench warm. You've been warned before they disappear. You've been warned.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Yahweh Hashem Al-Shai Barakatham to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Al-Athab Hashem Al-Shai to all the sisters. I'm priest and officer of 50 Shari 1 under commanding General YAHANNA. And we are the I.S.U.P.K, starter 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Today is Friday night Lashawan Qadash class. Every Friday night in the I.S.U.P.K around the globe, brothers and sisters are learning their true identity, and they're learning their true language. You understand? If you're a part of a nation, you have a culture, you have an identity that also comes with a language. Understand? And that language that we spoke of old times, of ancient times, was called the Lashawan Qadash, meaning the holy tongue, the ancient tongue, the original tongue, the pure tongue. All right? That was a language that was given to Adam in the garden from the Most High. And that is a way that he communicated with Adam. You understand? So with that, what we do every Friday, this is No Cowards Canada. These are the Canadian classes. all brothers and sisters who are part of the school, definitely check out these Friday night classes. Check out all of our classes Monday to Saturday. You understand? And just learn this Bible, learn this language. Matter of fact, let's start in, we're going to read something really quick in the Apocrypha. And this is the prologue in the Apocrypha to the wisdom of Solomon. All right. Well, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. All right. And it says, this Jesus was son of Sirach, and grandchild to Jesus of the same name with him. This man, therefore, lived in the latter times after the people had been led away captive and called home again, and almost after all the prophets. Now his grandfather Jesus, as he himself witnesseth, was a man of great diligence and wisdom among the Hebrews, who did not only gather the grave and short sentences of wise men that he had been before him, but himself also uttered some of his own, full of much wisdom and understanding. When as therefore the first Jesus died, leaving this book almost perfected, Sirach his son receiving it after him, left it to his own son Jesus, who gotten it into his hands, compiled it all orderly into one volume, and called it wisdom, into tooling it, bought by his own name, his father's name, and his grandfather's, alluring the hearer of the very name of wisdom to have a great love to the study of this book. It containeth therefore wise sayings, dark sentences and parables, and certain particular ancient godly stories of men that please God, also his prayer and song. Moreover, what benefits God had vouchsafed his people, and what plagues he had heaped upon their enemies. This Jesus did imitate Solomon, and was no less famous for wisdom and learning, both being indeed a man of great learning, and so reputed also. This is a very wise man, all right? Just like King Solomon was. And it goes on to read, whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps, for the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom, and whereof not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn, be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Jesus, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets, and other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment, and was drawn also himself to write some things pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. So now check this out, because this is what I was getting to. And I'll go up a bit. It says, my grandfather Jesus, when we had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets, and other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn, and are addicted to these things, you understand, might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. Meaning, a lot of these words, or all these words that are translated that we have today, that are written in the 1611 King James Bible, these words are written in English. And as they're written in English, they don't have the same force or the same understanding, the same power as the original tongue. You understand? And so what does that mean for us? What that means for us is that we got to understand that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have a culture. We have an identity. And that comes with a language. You understand? And we got to learn that language if we're going to understand this Bible. You understand? We can't always stick to the words that are interpreted or translated. You understand? Not that that's a bad thing, because it's written in a language which we are able to understand. But what we do have to do is come back to our original language. Come back to our original language so we can understand the words that are written in this book. All right? And so with that understanding, let's jump right into our lesson. All right? So just like we do, or just like we've been doing in Canada every Friday, we're going to start off with our basics. And we're going to learn the Hebrew alphabet. All right? All right, so in Hebrew, if you're just tuning in for the first time, everything we do is right to left. It's not like the English language where we read and write left to right. Everything is done right to left. All right? So this first character is pronounced ah. And what we're going to do is at the top, like we do every week, the top, we're going to do our characters first. This is the ancient tongue, the Lashawan Qadash. And at the bottom, we'll do the Assyrian. All right? And the reason we want to learn the Assyrian as well is because a lot of our manuscripts are written in the Assyrian. You understand? So we need the Assyrian to be able to translate into our ancient tongue. All right? So the first thing we got is an ah. And this is how it's pronounced, ah. We have a ba. Ga. And a da. All right. And so, again, if you're watching for the first time, something you want to pay attention to is how brothers and sisters handwrite these words, okay? When you're reading the Assyrian, sometimes the handwriting looks a little different. And this is why we got to practice it, right? We practice it so that we'll be able to recognize it better. But in the Assyrian, we have printed and we have handwritten. All right? Sometimes it'll look a little different, but once you get the hang of it, once you practice it over and over, you'll be able to read it no problem. You'll be able to read and understand exactly which character it is. All right? And we call these characters, okay? These are characters because they are a picture of something. It's a symbol of something. All right? We don't call it letters like we do in English. Those letters have no meaning. But in our language, these characters have meaning. All right? You have a which would be an ox. You have a ba, which is a bayat, which means a house. You have a gamal, which means camel. All right? And so on and so forth. So that's abagada. Then we have a ha. Ha, wa, za, ka, and a ta. All right. So first we did a abaga and a da. Then we have a ha, a wa, za, ka, and a ta. All right. This is how it's pronounced. Ha, wa, za, ka, ta. All right. Go ahead and write these down. We did abagada ha, wa, za, ka, ta. And now we're at a ya. This is a ka. La, ma, na, sa. All right. Again, this is the ancient tongue, the Lashawan Qadash. And this is the Assyrian. Now you'll see in the Assyrian actually has 5 characters that have, there's only 5 characters in the whole alphabet that have 2 different characters for the same character, right? And all this is when you see the character that's at the top, when it doesn't end at the end of a word, you'll use this character. All right? When these characters end at the very end of a word, you'll use these bottom characters. And that's very important that you can tell the difference. When you're spelling out words or translating words, you're going to need to know the difference. All right? All right. These are your next characters. So we have these are the last 2 Assyrian characters that have 2. Right here we have a I. This is the only character that doesn't end in an A. We have a pa, taza, so we have a I, a pa, taza, a qua, right? That's QA, qua, qua. We have a ra and a sha. All right. Again, these are characters, right? They all have meanings, right? Like a sha, that's a tooth, or a ra, that's a flag. All right. As you learn this language, at least for me, I love our language. I find it fun to learn. love pronouncing it. I love how the words sound. It has rhythm to it. All right. Abagadaha, everything rhymes. All the characters have meaning. Right? The last one we didn't do. We have one more character. It's a tha. And that's how it's pronounced. Tha. That's the last character. Right? So our characters, they all have meaning. As I was saying, every character means something. I find the language is a lot less confusing compared to the English. For example, right? We have Yahweh. I think the ha is to put forth. Put forth hand. You have a wah, which is a hook. Right? That's just an example. Right? This is the name of the Most High, Yahweh. And each character has meaning. Right? All right. So next, what we'll do, we do every week. And we're going to pick this up a little better. I'm just going to move along a little faster. As we practice this, we'll practice this every week. All right. These are words you'll find. These are words you'll find at the ending of a word. All right. And when you find these at the end of a word, it will determine what the word is talking about. Right? Right? When you see these characters at the end of a word, will tell you what a word is talking about. Will determine who it belongs to. Right? I'll go ahead and write those down for your notes. All right, next we'll do some prepositions. When you find these characters at the beginning of a word, all right, these words help us form sentences. All right. All right. Okay, so these are prepositions. Prefix meaning at the beginning. All right. Write those down for your notes. Make sure you take notes. The better notes you take, the better you'll learn, the better you'll have something to reference to. All right. So when you see an alap at the beginning of a word, it means I. When you see a bayath at the beginning of a word, it means in. When you see a dalath at the beginning, it means do. And when you see a hada at the beginning of a word, it means the. All right. This is our next four. All right. We see these characters at the beginning of a word. Wa is and. Ya is he. When you see a tha, it means she. A ka is as or like. And a la means to. All right, where did we leave off? We did two. I think we did two last. So we got two more. All right, and the ma, so let me double check my notes. Ma is from. All right, you see a ma at the beginning of the word. It means from. When you have a sha, it's whom, which, or pertaining to. All right, and that's it for our prepositions. We're going to go over some more of our basics before we get into our topic. All right, we'll do our numbers. All right. So when we're doing number 1, that means akad. Akad. Number 2 means shanya. 3 is shalash. Four is Arabic, Arabi. 4 is Kamash. 6 is Shasha. 7 is Shabai. 'All right, these are our numbers 1 to 10. We have Akkad. Right? Yahweh Elohayanawa, Yahweh Akkad. The Lord our God is one. He is one Lord. Akkad is 1. 2 is Shanya. 3 is Shalash. 4 is Arabi. Okay? 4 is Kamash. 6 is Shasha. 7 is Shabai. 8 is Shamawana. Shamawana. 9 is Thashai. 10 is Aishara. All right? Akkad, Shanya, Shalash, Arabai, Kamash, Shasha, Shabai, Shamawana, Thashai, Aishara. So if we wanted to say 11, we would say Akkad, Aishara. Okay? Akkad, Aishara. That would be 11. If you wanted to say, for example, 13, you would say Shalash, Aishara. If you wanted to say 20, this word yam is plural. So 20 would be Aisharayam. All right. So one is Akkad. If you wanted to say 21, you would say Akkad Aishurayim. All right, because it's plural. A 100 is Ma'ah. All right. So 100 would be Ma'ah. 200 would be Ma'ah plural, Ma'ayam. If you wanted to say 300, you would say 3, which is Shalash, Ma'ayam. If you wanted to say 400, right? 4 is a rabbi. Five is Kamash. So you would say 400, a rabbi, Ma'ayam. 4, 100 plural. 500 would be 5, 100 plural. 500, Kamash, Ma'ayam. And so on. You would do that up to 900. Until you got to 1,000. right? And so on, right? A lap would be 1,000. A lap yam be 2,000. And then 5,000 would be 5 kamash, 1,000 plural. Kamash alap yam. All right. If you didn't have time to write that down, I'll just spell it one more time. A lot, right? That's 1,000. Right? 1,000. A lot. A lot. A lot. So, I can go right into our topic for today. We're going to go over plural words. All right? Which we saw in our numbers, that word yam is plural. All right? When you see the word yam and yan, these are plural words. For example, we got the word brother. What I like to do is look up in the Strongs what these words are. All right, the Strong's definitions from the Bibles or from the Bible that will help us break down what these words mean in Hebrew. All right. So when we look up the Strong's definition for this, this is the Strong's H251. All right. So we have this word ak. All right. So we get the Strong's. We can translate it into the Paleo or our ancient language. And we have the word ak. Right? And if you add the yam to it, you would have brothers plural. All right. If we wanted to do the plural in the feminine, we have the Strong's H269. All right. So we got the word sister. The word sister would be aqua. we wanted to make it plural, all right, we would just add the yan. This is Y-A-N. We would add that to the end of the word. And you would have sisters, plural. All right. So we have Akwath and Akwatyan. So now we're going to go over a couple plural words that we use a lot in I.S.U.P.K classes. All right. So if this is your first time watching, you can still follow along. And just know that you'll see these words a lot. Or you'll hear these phrases, you'll hear these words a lot as brothers are teaching classes in the I.S.U.P.K. All right. So we got this first word. This word stand, the Strong's word for it, or the Strong's definition is H5 975. All right. And they have it as I, a ma, and a da. All right. In our language, the ancient tongue, we would pronounce that I mad. I mad. All right. It would sound like this. I mad. Now, if you wanted to make this plural, like we went over earlier, you would just add the yam. All right. The Strong's definition for this word is to stand, remain, endure, take one stand. All right. So if you were talking to one person, you would say, I'm mad. If you were talking to a group of brothers, you would say Imad Yam. If you were talking to a group of sisters, you would say Imad Yan. And in the Hebrew, is that we understand everything to be masculine, meaning everything that we do in our culture has rank and order. Everything has structure. So I say that to say, if you were talking to sisters and brothers, you would say yam. You would always use the masculine when you're talking to brothers and sisters. All right? So the next word we'll go over is rested. But you can find it in the Strong's H7637. And this word is you have a Shah, a Ba, and a Tha. Okay? All right? So they have it pronounced as Shabbat. All right? Now, there's a root word in this, which is to rest. I'd have to go on my blue letter Bible to find it. Oh, hold on. It's okay. We'll leave that for now. Let's move to another word. We have wapanya, ha kwadam. So this root word here is pana, right? And that means turn. That word wa is a prefix, like we went over earlier. And that word wa, or that character wa, when it's at the front of a word, means and. And then we have ha, which is another prefix, which I think it means the. Just let me double check my notes. Yeah. So that word ha, that prefix at the beginning of a word, means the. And then we have kwadam. So what you can do again is you can always look up these words. Look up these words in a interlinear Bible. That way you can see what the word is for yourself. So kwadam, they have it in the Bible as Strong's H6924. And that word means east or eastward. All right. All right. Wapanya, and turn the east. So that word pan, that was the root word for turn. When you have the word panya, which is, you can look that up, that's Strong's H6440, panya. They sounded out as panim, but that's the Assyrian. All right. So when you have that full word panya, it means face. Face, faces, presence. All right. One of the Strong's definition is as the part that turns. All right. So wapanya, ha kwadam, and turn, and or how you would say that in English would be and turn and face the east. All right. All right. Another word we got. You'll hear this a lot in class. We have Barak. The Strong's for it is H1 288. All right. They have it spelled as a ba, a ra, and a ka. All right. Barak. And the definition is to bless. Now, if you scroll down through your Strongs, you'll also see one of the words for bless or Barak is to salute. All right. When we're at the end of our classes, brothers will be asked to salute each other, to salute the brothers or salute the sisters. And you would start with saying Barak. All right? That's to salute or to bless. So earlier we did stand, which was Imad. And the opposite of stand is to sit. Yashab, you can find it in your Strongs as H3427. Yashab. Yashab, to sit or to chill, to dwell. All right? If you were talking to a lot of brothers or a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters, you would say Yashab Yam. If it was just sisters, it would be Yashab Yan. All right. How much time do we got? All right, let's go over a couple. We'll go over a couple more familiar words. All right. So some brotherly and sisterly words. So some brotherly and sisterly words. Let's stick to the Strongs too. So this word we got next is we have the water. So that word tha you can find it in Strong's H3034. That word H3034 is to give thanks. All right? Wada should be thank you. Whoa, stop it. All right, Salakia. Get a couple words down. All right. These words, these are all brotherly and sisterly words, right? We should tell it to each other often. Get a tha, wa, and da. All right. Say these words to each other often, right? Everything about this school is being brotherly and sisterly to each other. Everything that we teach has to do with brotherhood and sisterhood, building a nation. All right? So, ayan the bar means you're welcome. All right? Ayan the bar means you're welcome. This next word is shamar. It means to watch. Shamar is everything. It's very important. Right? This has everything to do with brotherhood, sisterhood. We have to watch over each other, warn each other, right? Sound the trumpet, sound the alarm. We got to look out for one another. All right? That's shamar. Next word we got is shamai. Shamai. Shamai means to hear, listen to, right? Or obey. Right? In the English, you can say, be quiet. All right? Shamai, to be quiet or to listen. So with that, we're running out of time. We're going to end the class. Let's clap it up. We're going to give the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We're going to say a prayer, and then we'll salute out. All right? So we are the I.S.U.P.K, which will start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find that in Numbers 18 and 21 and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashera means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations. We have the Feast of First Fruits coming up. That's on June 21st. You can contact Officer of 500 Zabadia if you're in Canada, who's in charge of the High Holy Day Department, or you can contact your camp leader, which in Canada is Officer of 5,000 Aban. All right. The sign-in link was dropped in the chat. If you were tuning in, make sure you click the sign-in link. Make sure you sign in. That way we can take attendance of you coming to classes. All right. So with that, Men of Israel, Imajim, which means stand. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer. We're going to do everything in the Hebrew. Sarpan Yah HaKudam, which means turn and face the east. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Qadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwathka, Thaba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kowar, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan Lanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa, Kawabath Nawa, Kasalak Lanawa, Kawabathia Nawa, Wala'ah, Thabaya Nawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha Allah, Waha Thapara, La'ai Walamim, Aman. Sar, which means turn. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak. Yahweh Shimya Shabrak Atham to all the brothers. Yad Yamata. I'm going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alatha Bashim Yahushai. Yad Yamata. Class dismissed.